Alright, yo, so we have a battle plan. Step 0, clean up stuff. Step 1, wash surfaces. Step 2, vacuum. Step 3, mop the floors. And here's the area. You probably can't see that because it's see-through, but here's like all the areas in the house, and we're gonna mark them with each corresponding letter to the corresponding task when we are done with it. Let's go, let's go, let's go! This is Einar's. Ready? We just went to squash.
Yes, we did.
How was it?
Terrific.
Actually, it was pretty good. Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
And you were also doing amazing. I sucked.
No, I mean, we did as what, you're saying I sucked also? I was as bad as you?
No, this guy, he was terrific in squash. Don't fight him, he'll squash you in squash. Bye, Einar, thanks for today.
Bye-bye.
So this was real nice. So that was my friend Einar. Me and him have a company together, and there were some other people working there too, where we are like mostly trying to like get kids interested in like doing computer stuff like programming, and now we're adding 2 courses to what we are offering. Yeah, it's cool. And speaking about computers, I've actually been like really interested in the past couple of days in like open source software, and I kind of want to talk about that a little bit. So for those of you that don't know what open source is,
open source is basically software where the source code, the code that the programmers write to make the program, is like available for anybody to look at online, and if you want to, you can modify the code and suggest that the modifications that you made will become like the default, like a part of the code.
So that's the gist of it. The cool part is that most open source software is like free, because you know, if you make something open source and somebody just copies your code, right, and like saves it, you know, and then you make it closed source, or you want people to pay for it or something, you know, and somebody that copied your code is just gonna post it online and say, hey, here's like a free version, you know. So most open source software is free, I think, and that's kind of cool like idea. I just think the idea of having like the source code available online so anybody can look through it and like find some bugs and stuff and like fix them is a really cool idea, and it could be applied to a lot of things. And like, for example, Linux is an operating system that a bunch of companies and computers are using, and most web servers are running Linux, you know. And like people that live in countries that hate each other and work in companies that hate each other, you know, and they all use Linux and they all work together on building this code, you know. It's amazing. It's a huge collaboration project. And I'm imagining how cool would it be if all programs were like this, you know, like ideology going on here, and people have different preferences for different things, you know, but like let's take an example. I'm using a 3D modeling tool from a company called Autodesk, you know, on my computer, and I get to use that for free through my university. So I can make 3D models of stuff, but I'm not allowed to commercialize them in any way, you know, because it's only for educational purposes, right? And you can license the program. It costs, I have no idea how much per year, and then you can like you draw whatever you want and model it, and then sell your designs, or like make the stuff and sell that like for commercial purposes. But I discovered that there's also like an open source 3D modeling software. It exists, you know, like, and this is called CAD, computer aided design. And I found a program called FreeCAD, and at first I was like, man, this program is terrible. But then, you know, I actually read the manual, the documentation, and I realized that there's actually a bunch of stuff going on in this program that I didn't know about at first glance. So that was really cool, and now I'm wondering, like, hey, what if all the companies that are using CAD software to model their designs would switch to an open source project like FreeCAD, and then all of them would work together. When there's a bug, they'd have some like programmers fix the bug, and not all the companies would have to do that. There are so many companies using CAD modelers that even if like 10% of the companies would do it, or even less, you know, I think the development of the program, FreeCAD, would be so fast, and like it would become so good so fast that it would be amazing, you know. And that way, anybody could use like pro CAD modeling software for free and commercialize the products that they want to design, you know? And I think that's kind of a cool idea. And so I'm going to experiment with this a little bit. I did an experiment where I put Linux on a USB stick. So I have a USB stick. Wait, I can actually on the USB stick. So on this USB stick, I put a Linux distribution, and I can boot into this distribution from any laptop. So it's basically like borrowing the computer's CPU and memory and all that stuff, but booting into the OS on this USB. So this is basically like a really portable computer. Of course, there's not a lot of space on there, so you know, it's basically just an operating system, but it's cool. Currently, I kind of have to use Windows on my computer because there are some programs, mainly the CAD modeler that I'm using, that I have to use because of school, and like I'm in TeamSpark. Totally check them out, I'll leave a link. In TeamSpark, you know, it's a team. Everybody has to use the same program so that we all have the same file types, and so that we can all access the same like file backup structure thing. So it's like I have to use Windows right now, but I would like to do an experiment with open source I would like to do an experiment with Linux at some point, maybe after university, or when I stop in TeamSpark, you know, and don't have a reason to stay in Windows, you know, and that would be really cool. But for now, we're gonna have to do an experiment with this video. So I downloaded an open source video editor called Kden Live, and I'm gonna try and edit this video on that tomorrow morning. Yes. So man, this was really short. Also, I'm really like, I'm not sorry about anything actually though, but like I did this like plan thing. You probably can't see anything on here, but like I was cleaning up today. There's like, I have to clean up the house, you know, and everything is pretty like clean. Like there's no stuff except for right over there. There's no stuff anywhere that's not supposed to be there, except right over there on that thing and on this table. But you know, that's totally fine. So tomorrow we're gonna fix up this table and like actually clean everything in the house. And it's ready. Blap.